July 20th, 2023 will be a day to remember for all Washington Commanders fans because it was on July 20th, 2023 at around 5 p.m. And shout out to the owners for, taking their time, making sure I'm officially off the clock. Dan Snyder is no longer the owner of your Washington Commanders. The NFL unanimously approved Josh Harris to be the new owner of the franchise. Includes Magic Johnson, Rails. Congratulations to them. K-Dot, congratulations to you. And congratulations to all Commanders fans everywhere. Happy 720 to all that celebrate. K-Dot, how are you feeling, my friend?
This is great, man. I'm sure the fucking audio probably ain't picking the volume hitting right now. But
didn't pick that one up, but you're good.
Man, all right. I turn my volume down just in that. Excited. It feels fucking. It's real. It happened. It fucking happened. All this shit that we've been waiting for, the false alarms, the more you hear, the more you realize how close he was to actually maintaining control of everything. It's fucking nuts. And it's over. It's fucking over. And my phone's blowing up like a motherfucker right now. Because I don't know because we just got word. It just happened.
Literally just happened.
But now I don't know if should I read what I just got? I don't
read
know if
what you just got, of course.
With Dan Snyder officially out, the NFL has released the findings of investigator Mary Jo White. Finding Snyder $60 million.
Whoa.
The conclusion of the report says, is this. After extensive investigation, we have sustained both Tiffany Johnson's allegation of sexual harassment by Mr. Snyder and Jason Friedman's allegation of deliberate underreporting of NFL revenues by the club to avoid its VTS sharing obligations. We found that the evidence was insufficient to demonstrate Mr. Snyder's involvement in the calendar photo incident or the security deposit issues, and was inconclusive as there's personal participation in the club's improper shielding of VTS revenues. In the course of the investigation, we also identified a variety of transactions and accounting entries left unexplained by the club, which raised a number of issues as to whether a significant portion of the revenues recorded were NFL-related revenues and properly shielded from VTS sharing. He got it.
Wow.
He got on the way out the door. Fucking. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Age of Aquarius. Fucking feeling it, man. This is. Woo!
And shout out to K-Dot for the new intro, by the way. I think you really enjoyed doing that. I burst out laughing the moment I saw it. It was perfect. Absolutely perfect, K-Dot.
It's a hype kind of day, man. That's been the soundtrack all day. I've been in the car for like a couple hours earlier, just playing the music out. And now I'm home. I've been just walking around, trying to get work done, but can't really. It's just, this is a glorious, glorious day. And now I get to, I don't know how you, but I feel like I can now become a regular NFL fan.
Completely. I mean, some of the episodes we did were just like, a new report came out. Somebody else got in trouble. Now they're cooking the books. Like, we don't have to do that stuff anymore. And, I am super excited to just talk about football. There's going to be an analytics plan. They've already talked about it. The Athletic dropped an article, Ben Standing did, on the different ways that this team is going to use analytics that Josh Harris likes to. So, like, it feels like we're being run in the 21st century. So we're also being brought into the 21st century, and you finally have an owner, and I think it was ML Football or something like that tweeted out, oh, wow, did you know Dan Snyder would make draft picks and sign free agents without watching film? Yes, we fucking knew that. We've been knowing that. We've been trying to tell you that. Commanders fans know. We finally have some competence. Finally. We got our team back, K-Dot.
That's the phrase right there. We got our team back. You hear the older generations, like, I grew up in a household that was Washington through and through. Like, my dad used to run hot dogs and beer at RFK on Sundays to the fans. Like, grew up in the shadow of RFK. I grew up spent a lot of time on Benton Road out there in Northeast, staring at the parking lot and what used to be. Only got to see one game at RFK. Majority of my time was out in Landover, especially early on. My brother had season tickets for years. And when I would hear them talk and tell all the stories about the parades and how this felt and that felt, I know I used to go to a couple friends' houses and they'd have the old Redskin VHS tapes where you see us on the Super Bowl runs. You turn on NFL films in the right time and they'll have. I bought every America's game, the NFL America's game of anytime Washington won a Super Bowl. So I have 3 America's games.
All right.
And they're all like, you see all that and like the stadium rocking and the John Riggins and Darryl Greens and all this stuff. And it always felt like it was so far away from anything that we have known, really. Right. And to see people like my dad and my brother lose their complete love of football, they don't even watch it on Sundays anymore. It was heartbreaking. And to me, like, they look at me like, how dare you even still be a fan of that team with how they ruined the legacy of what it is that we knew. And sticking through it all and realizing that, like, there's no guarantees with any of this, but the idea that we'll have somebody in the door and we'll have a team that can be ours again, that we don't have to feel guilty for rooting for, that we don't have to feel bad about the tarnished legacy or anything. It's a new day. It's an ability or the opportunity to become something. We might suck for 20 years again, but it will not be like this. It won't feel morally wrong and bankrupt to be a part of it. And when I talked to my dad and my brother, and they're getting back in the fold, my brother was looking up season ticket prices.
Yeah, there you go.
Come on, guys. Like, this feels so good. It feels so good.
You are allowed to inject energy and emotion guilt-free once again.
Right.
Because I know, I mean, even doing this podcast sometimes, K-Dot, like, I briefly wasn't a fan. RG3's first game, I watched starting in the second half. I was so defeated all the way up through that point, right? Where it's just like, man, just thing after thing with this franchise, with this owner. And now I look forward to watching on Sundays and having full pride, full excitement for the game again, knowing that this is our team. It didn't feel like it, right? Like, it just felt like a team that we're passionate about, but it wasn't quite it feels like it's been given back to the fans today. And time will tell if that's the case. But there's every reason to think so when you see how these owners, these new set of owners for this team, how they have run their operations so far. Now, you're going to see reports that are very early on are like, glowing reviews. And we will find out over time, maybe they do have some missteps here and there from like they don't know how to manage certain things properly, or maybe the way they go about winning isn't quite what it should be. But it's going to be about sports. Right. And that is so exciting. You were talking about, your experiences growing up. For me, a Redskins game at the time, the name at the time, that was make or break for the week when I was 6 years old, 7 years old, 8 years old. We lost a lot. And so it was one of those things where I'm like praying to God that we recovered the onside kick. Lord knows how many onside kicks, like legitimately the Lord knows, because I prayed every single time how many onside kicks we had. And then Monday hit, man, we lost or we won. And it was just getting even 20% of that feeling back is just going to be absolutely amazing. And I'm just so happy for everybody that got their team back today. And I look forward to this season for the first time in a really, really long time. We can just enjoy the game. It's already a success. We basically won a Super Bowl here because
the shades are on, baby.
The shades are on. No game was played today, but the shades are on and it's meaningful. And behind these shades, there was a little bit of a tear early on in the pre-show where it was just like, I don't even know, like it's hitting in waves, K-Dot. It's hitting in waves. And it's just shout out to Bernal, for example. Bernal and I, we would watch games together every single Sunday together. And Vikram, his dad, like it's going to be awesome to be able to do that again fully and freely and just enjoy together.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is like you go back through the years, and I think with rooting for this team, it's been an exercise in futility.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you could never trust anything to truly be good. And if you believe in any sort of karma principles, then you would know that nothing good should have come to the owner of this franchise, who would be the person who wins most if we were to win, right? So like the and the different varieties in which ways that it was sold to us, this stuff could change over the years, and that things would be different. And there was always these through lines that made you know deep down that none of it was really real. Like, even though seeing Jay Gruden talk today, or other people talk about he was meddling in this and meddling in that, we knew that. We knew that. All we've always known that. And
Everyone local knew too. And shout
we
out to
all
the
knew.
local reporters who were on
Right.
this over and over and over again. This is not news to our franchise. Go ahead.
Right. And it's the thing is like you go through the moment that he walked in the door and you oust our franchise quarterback at the time in Brad Johnson, you bring in a Jeff George, you get rid of Norv Turner, you go and you get Marty Schottenheimer, you get rid of him because he talks back to you, even though there looked to be promise there. And every time that there was a moment of anything good, you'd see him creep his head right through and destroy it all. Anytime that there was a free agent signing, like it, nope,
Albert
overpay for this.
Hainsworth, my God.
They'll spit in that man's face if I saw him.
Seriously, Jesus.
The Albert Hainsworth, the Adam Archuleta contracts, all that bullshit. The Deion Sanders paying for the West Wing,
The
of
retirement
his house.
home we set up in 2001, basically, right?
And in the process of doing so, I think people forget that they kind of set Darryl Green aside to make that happen. Like the idea that you had this guy who is one of, if not the greatest player that's ever played for your franchise, kind of having to take the back seat for this overpaid Deion Sanders who didn't give a fuck other than making money here. Like, it's just it's so much nonsense. How it is that he would work with some players to carry favoritism that would seep its way through the locker room, or cut off the coach at the knees because you knew that at the end of the day you didn't really have any control over what it is this other guy was doing. So anything you said didn't really mean much. You can't win that way. You can't sustain anything that way. You build enemies that way. When you look across the league and see all the head coaches that are having success that were here but aren't here because of the relationships that he soured, that he ruined, that he destroyed, the all this shit. And then that's just the on the field stuff, right? That's just the product on the field. But to know that for years we had to have a guy, I don't care what you think about the name, but you had a dude that was so adamant about not being wrong or not listening to anyone. When it came to it, it felt dirty. Then outside of that, you hear about all the stuff that would happen in Ashburn. You and I both know people that have worked or gone through Ashburn and talk about the shit show that's been there. You look at all the lives out off the field that have been tried to be ruined to certain degrees. You look at the Scott McClellan, you look at the fucking Brian Lafaminas, you look at all this shit that they do, and it's all stems from the top. You look at what it is that he has to pay the $60 million fine for, what it was with the Beth Wilkinson report that we'll never see, all the bullshit and the nonsense and the downright terrible evil shit is gone. It's gone. This motherfucker in general, it's gone. That just feels so good. It feels as though a weight has just been lifted. And that alone is all I need right now. Give me a year to get to a point where I really give a shit about the on the field product. Right. I just care that I don't have to worry about being on the wrong side of fucking history, lining the pockets of that prick.
There you go. And let a certain degree of healing begin. And you didn't even there's so much you could touch on, right? Because we also had the most insane leaks from the organization in the middle of the season. You compare that, probably 2 seasons worth of leaks that we would have against the entire league for the last 15 years. This franchise just knocks them out of the park. Like, it's crazy some of the stuff that was coming out about people in this organization when things were going south. It just doesn't happen at other organizations. And it's just nice to have some competence. It's nice to be able to breathe. And like I was just mentioning to you, K. Dot, let a certain degree of healing begin. There are scars with this franchise that are going to stick around. Okay. I think anyone would be foolish to think, oh, we need to get rid of this. You're not gonna. There's scars. Scars don't go away. But what you can do is move forward. And props to the fans, props to the reporters who have shown the light, on Snyder, on this franchise. Props to the women, and that's so terrible, right? They are trying to live out their dream. A lot of them were fans growing up. A lot of them wanted to be involved in the NFL. And for them to go through the terrible experience that they did, right? And having to speak up to bring certain things to light. Even then, it didn't move things, right? Like, it needed more. And every single time, somehow, something delivered. But fans, reporters, women, everybody's been on. Absolutely everybody's been on him. And it's resulted in this day today.
And a lot of what you said is, I think a lot of us also come to the realization, even with what it is that I just read as far as that finding there at the end, Mary Jo White report being there, there are still going to be ghosts in the machine from the Snyder era that are still weighing through.
Oh yeah.
The coaching staff, the front office, everything are all Snyder holdovers. What it is that happens with that, are they tainted, are they not, whatever, I don't know. But beyond that, you also have that John Gruden's fighting his ass off in court right now, trying to get more findings of the emails. So there's going to be more shit that comes up. But I think the idea to know that we can talk about that in the past tense, in a true past tense, and knowing that the guys that we have here basically have a clean slate if they want it, to rid themselves of the stank that was Yacht Bitch. And it's just, I adore the opportunity for a brand new day.
Yeah. I mean, so excited about it. I know we had other topics, K-Dot, but I feel like just given what today is, this is the topic. Like, this is really all we're doing. We'll get to the comment mailbag in a moment briefly, but I mean, what a day. And shout out my dad. It's his birthday today. Just want to say that as well. Happy birthday,
Pops.
Pops. Appreciate you.
My dad's is in 2 days. It's close.
No, really?
No shit. I'm going to Delaware to go celebrate.
Well, there you go. I'm going out to dinner tonight with the fam.
Nice.
Yeah. So happy birthday, Pops. We got to see the Arsenal game yesterday as well, K-Dot, which was a lot of fun against the MLS All-Stars. We had an absolute blast. Arsenal won 5-0. That's not what this pod's about, just to be clear.
Soccer's kind of the bane of my fucking existence right now.
But
shout out to Avery Collins.
I was gonna say, hey, listen, we just dropped an episode on it. Shout out Avery Collins, who I thought did a magnificent job on the podcast.
That was a great episode.
It was really enjoyable. Appreciate having her on. On that note, actually, unless you had anything else, we could jump to the comment mailbag real quick, because we have a couple episodes we need to go through.
Yeah, man. Let's celebrate everybody. Smoke your favorite cigar, smoke your favorite weed, do some drugs today. Be on the A train. I know you got to Clarendon. You know I'm just going to be out there. Do a bump for me, because I won't do it. I just don't touch that evil shit. But drink up and do whatever you need to do to celebrate this. I know that we talked about a parade or anything. I haven't heard much on that realm just yet. I think DC might be a little too gentrified and disjointed for it, but if there is, we'll be there. We'll make appearances. We'll
100%.
Hit us in the comments. We'll see what we can do to reach out and get some stuff cracking, but it's just a glorious day. It is a glorious day. I almost feel bad. I was in DC earlier today. Now I'm back in Baltimore, but I'll be blasting the go-go music up here for you guys.
Oh, you absolutely have to. And in relation to A-Train and his activities, maybe Pop shows him how it's done tonight. That's all I'm going to say. It's his birthday after all. Let's go ahead, jump over to the comment mailbag, where first off, I need to pull it up. Here we go. Okay. We got 3 from the quarterback on Netflix video, basically, that we did, talking about Kirk Cousins, his time in Washington, the Deron Payne hit. I finished the series, by the way. Okay,
I have not.
For some reason. Oh, I went for it.
I'm still an episode and a half.
I went for it. And we do need to talk about that sometime. But maybe the next episode when we have the time to do, like, all that other stuff. 3 comments. Excuse me. Just drinking the beer pretty quickly for me. So we got Vindo, and it just says lamb's milk. And I don't know what that is in reference to. K-Dot, unless you know.
Can't say offhand. It does sound familiar. I've heard someone say that
I
before.
was thinking initially maybe it was a quarterback on Netflix reference. Could be an Eric Bieniemy reference. I'm not sure.
Lamb's milk.
I will
Why
say
is
this
that?
though, Vindo, we love you. And we appreciate you writing lamb's milk here in the comments section in the comment mailbag. Are you searching lamb's milk right now? We want to get it.
I did. I did a little Google search, nothing pulled up, at least.
Well,
initially.
maybe we should drink it. Is that, you think that's what we're...
Oh, I have very, very strong opinions about dairy. If you ever want me to get into it.
Yeah, you can get into it real quick. It's the comment mailbag, my friend.
It is fucking, if you see anyone, any human being drinking cow's milk, that shit's weird.
It's talking about like the stuff you get from the grocery store and stuff?
Yeah, that's fucking weird, man. Like,
okay,
no other animal drinks another animal's milk. The shit's weird. And I don't understand why we're not more up in arms about this. I also think the first, just think about this. The first human being to have ever drank milk, right? Mm-hmm. How do you explain it to other people?
I don't think he did. I think someone caught him drinking the milk, and they were like, "What are you doing?"
You look at that dude, you're like, "You fucking pervert."
And he's just like, "Just drink this." He probably just said, "Just drink this." That's probably how a lot of people have their first drink. Actually,
just saying,
just drink this.
No, fuck that. There was an ice cream shop in the UK years back that sold ice cream using humans' breast milk, and I actually think I would have preferred. I would have tried that. I would have absolutely tried that. I think it's a more natural thing to do. I don't think I'm wrong. I know I'm not wrong. Fuck that. It's not. It's
there
not
you go. I was like, double down. Go for it.
It's the right thing. It's just, I'm fine with making dairy. Like, you can use animal byproducts to make other things, but drinking just straight milk, that shit is fucking weird. That's why lactose intolerance is such a thing. We're not supposed to do it.
Moving on to the next comment. We got Spencer Brudig. I heard Amit's favorite QB was on the Niners. He's a spy. Well, just talking about my dad, his favorite quarterback, Joe Montana. It's to the point, K-Dot. So my dad moved here at the height of the 49ers little dynasty there with Joe. Mm-hmm. Okay. Favorite player of all time, Joe Montana. To the point, he hates Steve Young. Even though Steve Young got a Super Bowl for the San Francisco 49ers. Why? Yep. Because the opportunity cost, they could have gotten more if they just stuck with Joe. And actually, if you look at it, the way it worked out in New England, where they were thinking about moving Jimmy or thinking about moving Tom, because they had Garoppolo and then they actually stuck with Tom, they got 3 more. So actually, I think my dad has a really good case that he's made over there. But yeah, he hates Steve Young, loves Joe Montana there, K-Dot.
As I was saying, I grew up in a Washington household, but because I was a petulant little bitch of a child,
of course,
I was a 49ers fan as a really small youngin. And Steve Young was my favorite player. And I remember hating Jeff Garcia when he got the job.
Okay, so Young, the lineage is there. We just got to find the Jeff Garcia fan.
Not T.O. Yeah, so one of my non-Washington moment as a sports fan that I still remember to this day was the 98 wildcard playoff game, 49ers versus the Packers. T.O.'s having a shit game the entire time. It's catch 2.0. He makes a catch over the middle at the end of the game. Steve Young drops back, almost trips over a lineman, throws a dart. T.O. catches across the middle, gets blown the fuck up, but he held on to it. 49ers win. I'll never forget Steve Mariucci jumped on the sidelines, and it looked like he levitated. He stayed in the air so fucking long. It's just, I still tear up when thinking about that moment. It was a great moment. Your dad's probably right. I mean, it's the same, but even though Steve Young was my guy, I mean, it's one of those things. You age out of it. You got your guy, you have success with your guy, and then you don't want to see the other guy take his place.
And it took, I think, Brady's 6th Super Bowl for my dad to finally go, okay, he might be better than Joe. Might be better than Joe Montana. So that's the level of what we've got over there. And then we move on to Matt Regan. We had a couple different people, different co-hosts from the past chiming in right here. We got the lion emoji and the eyes emoji. This was a few minutes ago. That is in reference to the sale in some way. I don't know if he wants to redo the Detroit Lions bet. I will not do that. I'm not running another 10K. I'll tell you that much right now. But yeah, Matthew Regan with the lion eyes emoji. What's up, Barkley? It's my dog Barkley right here. Maybe the lamb's milk was in reference to Barkley's not been doing too well recently. Maybe Barkley drinking lamb's milk will just solve everything. Thanks, Vindo. Appreciate that. We may give that a go. We got a couple more. This time from the Avery Collins video.
Mm.
And shout out Avery Collins one more time. Really appreciate you coming on, being a guest co-host for the day. The U.S. women's national team, they kick off tomorrow, 9 p.m. against Vietnam. Victoria Park with the very first comment. Tierna Davidson is not on the roster. That is correct, Victoria. So Avery Collins went to Stanford. Tierna Davidson went to Stanford. She made the assumption she was on the roster. She was not on the roster. Sue us. It's done. Everybody else she mentioned was on the roster. Did have a very, very good breakdown overall. But we do appreciate the comment because we want to be 100% correct with facts and stuff like that. So that was correct. I ended up replying, dropping the entire 23-woman roster over there. But yeah, Tierna Davidson not on the roster, K-Dot. And then one more. We got
Can
more.
I say real quick?
Oh, you absolutely can. Go ahead.
I was a little worried that Avery might be taking my place. You know, much better looking than I am. Much more articulate than I am. Actually has an athletic pedigree on a sports podcast. Your boy over here does not. But you can't make mistakes like that, Avery. Just saying. You gotta step the game up.
I believe we
I'm
found
not
Victoria
worried about my
Park.
chair.
Victoria Park is to my left right now. It's a black man in Baltimore. And then we have Maura Duffy, who's a coworker of mine, who chimed in. I really appreciate the comment there, Maura. She actually helped me become a Washington Spirit fan during COVID. So we would chat on WebEx, stuff like that. She's like, hey, women's team over here is awesome. You should check them out. And so I was like, all right, you know what? I will. And love the Washington Spirit. So I really appreciate you, Maura, not just for this comment, but also for making me a Washington Spirit fan. Maura writes, can confirm your anecdote about when you fell in love with Trinity Rodman in that very first Challenge Cup game is accurate. Good preview. Let's go United Spirits. Really appreciate that comment, Maura. Once again, there are 4 different players for the Washington Spirit that are on the U.S. women's national team. We've got Trinity Rodman, as mentioned by Maura, Ashley Sanchez, Andy Sullivan, Aubrey Kingsbury, Ashley Hatch should have been on the roster, frankly. She unfortunately did not make it. But Ashley Hatch should be on the roster as well there, K-Dot. Those are the comments in the comment mailbag. And this was District Divided, a DC Sports podcast, more specifically a Commanders podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, which how could you not have, right? What a day. What a day. Please like the video. Please share the video. Please subscribe to the channel. Please hit the notification bell. And please comment. Please comment, because we love doing that part of the show where we get to interact. We just found out, for example, Kadeen over here, K-Dot, is Victoria Park. You find things out about people. It's pretty fun. And it's a really enjoyable time to interact with you guys. We normally drop Fridays 2 p.m., but we had to drop a little earlier this time just because of the occasion. So until next time, take it easy. After the pod starts right now. Man,
This
oh
week
man.
is so awesome. So professionally,
yeah,
I'm having a really rough go.
Okay.
I lost
Appreciate your
half my
honesty there.
clients. Just in the course of like the last 2 months, I am broke as fuck trying to bring my fucking trying to build things back up. Okay.
Right.
So doing that, but outside of that, Dan Snyder, gone. Mission Impossible, went to go see that yesterday. It was fucking dope. So
all right.
So and beyond that, tomorrow, one of the reasons I asked if we could move the pod to today instead of, and it worked out because of the whole Snyder thing. So I'm happy with that. But thank you for your flexibility.
Of course, always.
I have tickets to go to the American Film Institute movie theater to go see Oppenheimer in 70mm tomorrow at noon. So I got to go stand in line at like 11 into downtown Silver Spring and then wait to get a good seat. So one of my most anticipated movies this year is finally fucking coming out. I'm so stoked. I already have tickets to stay at 3 times, which is, like I just said, I'm broke, but this is a priority for me. So after that, I do that tomorrow. Then I'm going out to the Uvar Hazy Air and Space Museum to see it out there, the digital IMAX. And then I'm driving out to King of Prussia outside of Philadelphia to go see it in IMAX 70mm. Because that's the way that Nolan intended me to watch it. So I will do that.
Oh my gosh, what a week for you, K-Dot.
And I go to the beach on Saturday for the day.
Okay.
Yeah, man, just busy, but mostly good.
What beach are you going to? I mean, I also get if you just don't want to get mobbed and you just don't want to put that out.
No, it's all private. They'll shoot you. So come on out. No, my family has my family has beach house out in Bethany,
Okay.
beach out in Delaware. So midway through trashy Ocean City and hoity-toity Rehoboth, just
Lovely.
nice, peaceful area right in the middle.
Okay, man, what a week for you, K. Dot. What a week. Yeah, this
Week.
week's been a lot of fun. Got the opportunity to see, Arsenal play over at Audi Field, which is walking distance from me. It was a birthday present for my dad. He's also a huge Arsenal fan. We got to witness the 5-0 thrashing of the MLS All Stars, which was a lot of fun. And yeah, we got dinner tonight. And yeah, just looking forward to the weekend. It's been awesome. And the Dan Snyder news to drop on my dad's birthday, and shout out Josh Johnson as well, one of my fantasy football commissioners. I swear he cheats when it comes to fantasy football. He's doing something. I don't know what it is. He always has like this like subpar draft. And then I don't know what he's telling these people in our league, but he pulls off the most ridiculous trades. I'm like, how do you get this value on the trades all the time? It's absolutely insane. But happy birthday to that son of a bitch. And yeah, it's just a good week, K-Dot. It is a good week. Got to Avery Collins. That was one of the it was the very first former professional we've had on the podcast. And here's to many more. Looking forward to it.
Hopefully.
But man.
Yeah, man, I'm still kind of shocked about the other thing. Is like,
that's the thing. It's so raw, right? Like we're just like, oh, excellent.
Everybody's been waiting for me to react because every time that we've had new news, I'm just sort of like, yeah, it's just another step in progress. And that's what I said that I was waiting for now, and I don't. I'm like beside myself, excited. Although I'm in so much pain right now too. It's not really wow.
You're in pain.
I don't know if I should talk about this on the pod, but I can.
You don't have to.
Had a pedicure. Went and got a pedicure yesterday.
How was it?
A girlfriend has been wanting me to get one. I'm not one of those like rah masculine guys, and I'm not getting a pedicure. I don't give a shit. It's just not been something I cared about. But our anniversary was last week, and she's like, "I'll pay."
Oh,
happy
anniversary, Kata.
Thank you. Huh. So went out and did it. It's a combination of two things, I'm thinking. Number one, my toes are just apparently fucked up. And number two, that bitch that did it hates me. It was torture, right? It was my toes hurt. So there was blood.
Spectacular.
There was blood. Lots of blood. And here's the thing. It's my first pedicure. So
that's why there was lots of blood, dude. I mean, I can only imagine what your toenails look like.
They weren't great. But the thing is, like, I'm sitting in the chair and I'm like, yo, do you cut this? Whoa. Ow. But I'm keeping it all internal, and I'm like turning aside a girlfriend. I'm in the massage chair or anything. And I'm like, I don't know if this is normal. If this is normal, I want to be a little bitch here in the chair. So I'm just going to ride it through. Torture. Torture.
Did you ever cry?
No, I shook a little bit.
Did you bring the shades?
No shades. But I did. I legit shook. And it was a Hispanic lady. They had to be talking mad smack. I could tell she didn't like me. I didn't do anything. I didn't say anything. I didn't know what to order. The girlfriend ordered all of it. I'm just sitting in the goddamn chair. But and I don't think they clean the instruments that great. My feet might fall the fuck off my body, man. Like I'm kind of worried about it. Plus I have this like, I'm taking time. Apparently I have like a really, I mean, I guess everybody has PTSD and autism nowadays because they do. But apparently I have like a very, very, like I'm not autistic. It's just certain things that I do. Autistic people would do.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. No, I think that's probably true for everybody.
I have this thing with fingernails.
Okay.
I'm really, really, really sensitive about fingernails, at least my own. It's not nails on the chalkboard. It's the feeling. Like I feel it right now, and it's really fucking with me. And I have to flick.
Oh, got it.
My fingers a certain amount of times now, and I'm gonna be doing this for the next half hour. Just
is that OCD? Like if
now I have to do it to make sure that my fingernails are still there. Is what's happening.
So that would be because your fingernails would obviously still be there regardless, right? So that is OCD, therefore.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah. Then there's some other things. I use, especially as a kid, I used to mouth words that other people say. Like if you were talking to me, you'd just hear me. I'd mouth everything that you were doing.
Yeah, I could see that weird. For sure.
And I used to repeat myself silently. So I'd say, "Hey, Amit, how you doing?"
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
little ticks.
I wanna well, I'll have to jump in a minute here, but I did want to say, because you did put me on to quarterback on Netflix.
Yes.
I obviously, anyone that comes away from that not loving Kirk Cousins the human,
No shit, you got to qualify it. God damn it!
there it is I knew you'd catch.
I got excited.
Is
It all went to shit.
Yeah, is inhumane. He is a fantastic human being. He is a family man. After a playoff loss, it's trash night. Makes sense because he threw a check down on 4th and 8. And so, yeah, you gotta take the trash out. Season's over, dude. But here's the thing. And I respect the hustle, the grind. Like, he is obsessed with being the best quarterback he can be. He is. He's a very talented guy. He could sing. Got the Bart Star Award, was emotional about it. I love that. I do. And I'm being serious. There's no sarcasm there. But I think and this is my take, and it may be a bit of a hot take, I think he's almost too invested. And if he took a little bit of a step back and allowed himself to just relax, I think he's overthinking, which kind of makes sense. It feels consistent with what I see on the field sometimes. As a fan, of course, I'm not a QB where I'm like, he's got to do the following fucking things. It's a fan podcast here. But like, I can understand the overthinking that occurs on the field.
That's what's important, because yes, no one should have walked away from it. Not
But I don't want him being my franchise QB because he does overthink. You see? So that's what I'm saying.
I'm saying that
I'm right. Great human being, but I don't want him being my franchise QB. Now you see
most
Mahomes.
Most quarterbacks have a thing. They have a thing that they have to overcome in order to be the guy, right? Mahomes has really nothing to overcome. The only thing that he had to do was learn how to read.
Well, he has to overcome Brittany Jackson.
I like Brittany through that series. I'm endeared to Brittany.
I'm just playing. I'm just to be clear, I'm just playing because I'm going off all the tweets. Everyone hates her in this series. But people on Twitter hate everything.
Right.
I did not mind Brittany.
She deserved the hate early on in Mahomes' career. I think she deserved it. But I think as time goes on, and I understand the way she kind of ticks, at least based on the show. Because once again, they're looking at everything through a prism of the show. And the only person I think didn't care about the way they looked on TV, this is just the way they are, is Kirk, probably above all of them. But because I think Mahomes knows what he's doing, which is why Jackson's not in the show.
Oh, by the way, I am a massive Kevin O'Connell fan. I just wanted to throw that in there for a moment. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead. Go ahead.
Awesome. It's Kirk's biggest thing to overcome is the balance of overthinking. He suffers from the same thing that I do. I don't know if you do too, which is that you understand that you overthink. So then you have to overthink ways in which not to overthink. And it's sort of it's a weird thing to be able to do, because in the process of overthinking, you have to think hard about not doing that, which already defeats the purpose of your overthinking. I know for me, I always used to say that I wish I could just, if there were moments that I could just flip a switch and turn my brain off, I'd fucking love that. Sometimes you just want to use muscle memory to just get through something.
If he could fuse with Eli Manning, he would be one of the greatest quarterbacks ever.
There you go. Yes.
Where he 100%. Just chucks it sometimes and it just like works out.
Fuck, let's go. Right.
Yeah. You know, 100%. Like that makes Eli sound stupid. Eli obviously very cerebral in his own right, but just like, I think Eli was really, really good at knowing when to exactly that switch. Eli definitely had.
Eli's an extremely articulate, good, funny guy. He's funnier than his brother, I think. But I agree with you. The dude looked like a straight up fucking moron. Like,
right. But he knew when to like, okay, this is what the moment requires. Right. And in those moments, that's why Brady couldn't beat him.
Like, and that's the thing. But see, that's the thing is like, when you talk about that through like the course of history of the league, right? There is that balance that like the guys that have it all are few and far between. Mahomes, Brady, we talk about Joe Montana. Burrow looks like he might have it now. Burrow really looks like he might be the most interesting case as far as the young guys go.
Yeah.
There's not that many guys that have the complete package all around. I got the tools, I got the mentality, I got everything I fucking need. I'm good to go, right? Eli has the mentality, didn't have the tools. Didn't have the tools necessarily. I'd take a lot of guys' tools over Eli's. But the ability to turn the mental part to do the right thing you need to do with the mental part, huge, right? But
Of
then you
course.
couple that with a great fucking defense and usually a rushing game that does the thing that
Yep.
they need to, and an offensive line that gets done. My thing with Kirk is that I think Kirk is more than enough to win a championship if the team is right around him. That being said, if you just rely on him and you need him to make all the big plays, he hasn't gotten the mental part down.
Okay, so we're on the same page.
We're on the same page.
We're more or less on the same page about Kirk. I do think even with a team around him, because you could make the case that the team he initially signed with the Minnesota Vikings that just had the Minneapolis Miracle with Case Keenum, and yeah, they got blown out in the NFC Championship game, but like that team was in win now mode for sure. Yeah, and that was supposed to put them over the top. And instead they regressed. And this is supposedly with a significantly better QB in Kirk Cousins over at Case Keenum. Granted, first season over there.
Right.
I can understand. So I'm not saying, hey, that was a total failure, but I am saying that
my thing is that
now he's been there for 6.
If you had a Kirk Cousins with the Washington wide receiving core and with our defense, I like that. I like that. He likes that. I like that.
I don't even think you did that on purpose. I think it just happened and you quickly. Yeah.
That's exactly what you
I saw it. Yeah, that's exactly.
We know each other now.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Even through the shades.
But there are so Taylor is like the guy who has probably, and I think the best toolkit in the history of the NFL outside of Patrick Mahomes is Aaron Rodgers. None of the mental. He doesn't have any of the mental right. And Rodgers doesn't have any of the mentals right. He prioritizes the wrong things at the wrong time all the time. But his tools are fucking phenomenal.
I'll push back on the mental thing a little bit. Finish your point. Finish your point.
Like Rodgers is a dude that I think would be, of anyone in the NFL, I think the person to be my best friend is Aaron Rodgers. I really do.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
That being said, he can be a stubborn little prick.
I can see that too. That's fine.
He gets upset with the coaches, upset with play calls, doesn't put his all in the play calls that he doesn't give a shit about. Will not throw to you as far as a wide receiver, almost a la Kobe in that year where he refused to take a shot in the playoff game. Rodgers has that. If you look at Rodgers, has 1 Super Bowl. Greatest tool set of anyone in the history of the league, outside of maybe Patrick Mahomes, can make any throw, dodge, run out of stuff. One of the most underrated scramblers ever.
That was the only time he ever had a top 5 defense, right? That's the stat I want to say. It's like they had that. Yeah,
I get that. But I'm just saying, as far as the overall point, whether or not I blame Rodgers for this, that, and the other. I talk to Brennan about this all the time. I say that the Green Bay Packers overall are a colossal failure. And the reason I say that is you had 30 years of sustained Hall of Fame quarterback play. You only got 2 championships to say about
I agree with that take, just
That's
to be clear.
A failure.
I agree with that take.
Right? So, like, Eli Manning has the same number of fucking Super
Which
Bowls
is wild.
Without the tool, without those tools. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, there's the thing. It's just Brett, as far as the mental thing, he chucked it up too much. Calm it down, motherfucker. So, like, everybody has their thing, but doesn't mean you can't win a championship with that guy. It's the way I feel about Kirk, is that for Kirk to really succeed, you have to have somebody. I think Kevin O'Connell's that guy to realize I kind of have to take it out of his hands sometimes. I can't let him do this thing here. Like, it's not going to be feasible for him. And what you'll end up doing is that he'll be so upset on his own that he wasn't the guy to get that play, that he might get the next one for you, or he might crumble. But it's one of those things. But the tools that Kirk has are really, really impressive. It's just that you can't get over the fact that he's also unlike any other quarterback we've ever seen from a personality standpoint. I've never seen a guy like this. What the closest thing you'd say is Phillip Rivers, and he's the very opposite of him as far as from a religion standpoint.
And he talks mad
smack, and Kirk's not doing that, right? So, like,
I think you can benefit from it a little bit, though. Like, I do think a little bit of a mental, like, here's the thing. I appreciate all the effort he's putting in. So I'm not saying that, like, it cannot be done with Kirk. I think it cannot be done with Kirk as is. But I do think he has the opportunity to change his thinking a little bit. And whether it's taking a step back, whether it's just going, I am the fucking man. You hear Mahomes do it, right?
Yeah, Mahomes is that guy.
Yeah,
everybody else is lying to themselves.
But here's the thing. You need to lie to yourself a little bit.
Yes, that's
to
true.
Push yourself over the top. I'm not sure Kirk does, because even in certain moments in the series, he's like, oh, okay, well, this thing's probably over. Like, he's a bit too much of a realist. And I think he could
He's honest to
benefit
a
from a
fault.
little bit. Yes, perfect. He's honest to a fault, and I think he could benefit from a little bit of lying to himself, because I think he actually, like, from an accuracy standpoint, and you saw the graphic recently that came out with Kirk Cousins' numbers against Josh Allen's numbers, just throwing. It's a biased one because there are no rushing totals, but like he's there. Like Kirk, from a talent standpoint, to me, is there, and he does need to just switch it a bit mentally. And personally, K-Dot, I hope he does. Okay, because I do think he's a terrific human being. I do think he deserves it, right?
That's all I needed.
Okay, but right now, it's not happening.
I'm disregarding that. I'm glad that you said that you're hoping it happens for him.
Sure, of course.
That's good. That's good.
I like O'Connell. I like Kirk. Like, totally good people. Like, come on. And for Minnesota fans, I know so many Minnesota fans, right? So many Vikings fans. I want it for them. They are one of the most passionate fan base. We talk about a passionate fan base here in DC, the DMV area with the Commanders. Vikings fans are incredibly passionate. You even look at the, oh my God. Okay, when they play the Colts and they come back, you know how empty FedEx would be versus even with this new ownership group, it would be like a bunch of people would have left. I don't think anyone fucking left over there. It was.
Can you fault him? We got a beltway.
No. Can't fault him. Just to be clear, but it was rowdy, man. And they do the like images and they're looking around. A lot of those seats taken up, man. I mean, like they are a very, very passionate fan base across the board, and I do hope for that for them as well.
You start to bring up to Washington. You start and looking, especially over the legacy of Dan as we're entering the end of this.
Right.
The most glaring thing outside of any stat for Washington, even before Dan, just historically the franchise, is for a franchise that has existed as long as we have, the quarterback play overall is fucking god awful.
Yes, it is.
Because if you're ranking the quarterbacks that have ever played for this franchise, number one is probably Sammy Baugh. It's the 1930s to 1950. Beyond that, you got Sonny Jurgensen.
Yep.
Long time ago. Joe Theismann. People don't remember when Theismann got hurt. That was at the end of his career. It wasn't like he was just getting started. He was already way on the downturn. You get a year from Doug Williams, not even a full fucking year. You get Mark Rippon, looks like the best in the league for like a season and a half. Then maybe Kirk. Like it's like if we're looking at like highs, all right, 2000.
But I also think that speaks more to just how it's been.
I'm not denying that. But I'm saying that like overall, if you look at Washington, like the highs of the RG3 2012 year and how that came to unravel, you can blame a lot of people for the way that
absolutely you can. Yeah.
Like there was promise there,
included,
and that and then that flame got snuffed out quick. The only other guys that I would look at through the history of our franchise that I'm like, I kind of wish we had more time with him, just because of how much of a desert it has been here. And that's what's, like I said, I'm not just attributing that to Snyder. I'm attributing that to the entire course of the history of this franchise.
Yeah, of course.
Joe Gibbs is Joe Gibbs because he wins 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks. That's what makes him Joe Gibbs. He's fucking awesome, right?
Spectacular, yeah.
But almost every other franchise, you could tie the coach to the quarterback that they were having the most success with, or maybe 2 that they have great success with. For us, I mean, that's the thing. It's so slim pickings. Like, do I wish Brad Johnson had stayed here for longer? Fuck yeah. I take that just because of how much I know.
We love Brad Johnson,
right?
Man. Yeah. He ends up winning the Super Bowl the next year.
But that's the thing. I put Kirk in that exact same category because I just think if you have him there, and once again, it's so different if you do, but if you have him here and he stays with the coaching staff, who, once again, we talked about, they had some really talented dudes who came through his motherfucker, right? So, like, if you got a Jay Gruden with a Kevin O'Connell, who's now his head coach in Minnesota, working together and building together here.
And I'm curious to see what year 2 looks like for that reason.
You see what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of...
He had the ice, like, he's starting to lean into it a little bit, so you could end up seeing a really nice year from the guy.
So what I'm saying is, like, it's hard for me. I barely criticize quarterbacks in Washington. It's hard for me to do it. That's why you even see the Carson Wentz thing, because of how much I think that there's been a drought here at that position, and how we all know that that's the most important position. And the only success we've actually had fully in this town, Super Bowl wise, have kind of spit in the face of that theory that quarterback is the most important thing. because if you look at it, we never had any sustained guy that did it. We're the exception to the rule. We always have been. So there is this like brokenness in. There are some shit that Snyder's not alone in. It's just that historically we have not been that guy. And there's some other teams like that, like the Cleveland Browns. They've been around forever. They haven't really had a guy. Well, I mean, Bernie Kosar is pretty fucking good, but it's just where we at. Like there have been franchises that have had much better guys. I look at my favorite team outside of Washington. I'm realizing now are the Chargers.
Okay.
I'm realizing I've kind of secretly always been a Chargers fan. I really root for that fucking team.
They go through shit too, man.
Herbert, I think
you're just addicted to pain. Got a pedicure.
Might be.
Fan of this team, fan of the Chargers.
Because there's no bigger pain than that. Like Dan Fouts to me is an all-time quarterback. Never won anything. Phillip Rivers, all-time quarterback. Never won a goddamn thing. And Justin Herbert, in my opinion, outside of Mahomes, is the best pure passer in all of football.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Follow track record, you probably ain't gonna win shit. But I root for those guys. I mean, it's just Washington. I think if you look historically, we're a fairly weird franchise to have the success that we have, but have not done it in ways that other teams have done it. And I don't think people understand that historical context necessarily.
By the way, we got to bounce now. But for your Chargers, if Staley has an underwhelming year and he's gone, Ben Johnson stuck around for one more year in Detroit. That to me is like a perfect. Now you got to see if he's a leader of men as well, right? I mean that's important. But you see the pairings, right? Doug Peterson, Trevor Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
You see it. We're talking about Kevin O'Connell, Kirk Cousins. That looks like a good thing. Mike McDaniel with Tua. When Tua's healthy, their record's spectacular. If Ben Johnson's in that mold and he gets with Herbert,
it'll be something special.
But anyway, we could chat for hours. We got to dip, but we typically go Fridays 2 p.m. This is a special. Enjoy it, and we'll see you next week. All right.
Bye, bitch. Woo!
In DC, we're just hoping that you listen.
It's like it's starting to hit. It is starting to hit, man. Cool fucking day.
Pretty good day. Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good day. You know. Woo! Still can't believe it quite.
I know. It
happened.
Yeah.
It's done. It's done.
It's done. You know what? Why don't we go ahead and just get started, dude? I don't know what the let's just get started. All right.
All right. Ready.